Now let's go ahead and take a look at problem number 1 in your problem packet. A commercial building contains a total of 5,200 square feet. Of this total, 3,900 square feet of the area has a wall height of 16 feet. The remaining 1,300 square feet of the area has a wall height of 14 feet. The problem wants to know what is your average wall height. Go ahead and work on this problem and we will review the answer on the next slide. Going over the answer for problem number 1, the first thing that we needed to do was find the contributory percent for each wall height for the portions of the building. So we're going to start with taking the 3,900 divided by the total square foot of 5,200, and that's going to give us 75%. And then next we're going to take the 1,300 divided by the 5,200, and that's going to give us 25%. The next thing that we need to do is take our 16-foot wall height, and we're going to multiply that by 0.75 or 75% because that's the contributory portion of that improvement. We're going to get 12 feet. And then we're going to take our 14-foot times the 0.25 or 25%, and that's going to give us 3.5 feet. Next, we're going to add our 12-foot and our 3.5 foot, and that's going to give us a total of 15.5. We're going to round that to 16 foot, and that would be the average wall height that we would use for this improvement. Looking at problem number 2, we have a commercial building that measures 200 feet by 500 feet, and the problem wants to know what the PAR of the structure is. If you have any questions about how to calculate the PAR, you can refer to some of the prior slides we were working on. You can also look in Chapter 6 on pages 15 through 17. They go over calculating your PAR. Let's go ahead and review the answer for problem number 2. The first thing that we needed to do was add all four sides together to get our perimeter. So we took 200 plus 200 plus 500 plus 500, and we got a total perimeter of 1,400. Next, we needed to calculate our area, or our total square foot. So we needed to take our 200 times 500, and we got an area of 100,000. Now we need to take our perimeter divided by our area. So we're going to take our 1,400 divided by our 100,000, and that's going to give us 0.014. We're going to multiply that by 100, and we're going to get 1.4, or we're going to round this to a PAR of 1. Now for problem number 3. A structure has 2,500 square feet of area, of which 1,500 square feet is general office and 1,000 square feet is utility storage. The walls of the structure are type 1. The building measures 100 feet by 25 feet. It wants you to go ahead and figure the adjusted base rate for this structure using the GCM schedule. If you want to go back through the previous slides that we discussed, it goes over the steps on how to do this. You can also refer to Chapter 6 on pages 40 and 41. We'll go ahead and work the answer on the next few slides. Please be sure to work the problem before looking at the answer. Now for the third step, we need to go to the appropriate schedule in Appendix G. So we're going to go to Schedule 8.1. We need to be in our GCM base prices. It's important to remember that under floor level, we are in the first floor. So make sure that you're always in the floor level that you're working with. So under first floor, we need to find our general office. We're going to go down under FD, or finish divided. We're going to find our general office. The problem told us that we had a wall type of 1, and we also calculated a PAR of 10. So we're going to go to our wall type 1 and go over to our PAR of 10. We find a base rate of $183.22. Next, we need to account for our utility storage. So again, under our floor level, we need to make sure we're in the first floor. Under UF, or unfinished, we're going to go to utility storage. We're going to go to our wall type 1 and go over to our PAR of 10. and we're going to find a base rate of $108.57. And lastly, we're going to take the adjusted base rates that we calculated on the previous slide and add those together to get our new adjusted base rate. So we're going to take the $109.93 for our general office plus the $43.43 for the utility storage, and we're going to add the two of those together to get $153.36 that we're going to use for our new adjusted base rate. If we continue on with problem number 4, we're going to determine our base rates and our wall height adjustment. So we need to go to Schedule 8.2 of Appendix G. We're going to be in our GCI base prices. First, we're going to take a look at our industrial office. So under our floor level, we're going to be in our first floor. We're going to go down to finish divided, and you're going to find your industrial office. The problem told us that this was brick. So if you remember, brick is going to be a type 2. So we're going to go to our wall type 2, and earlier we calculated a par of 3, so we're going to go over to 3, and that's going to give us a base rate of $110.37. Now we need to find our wall height adjustment. Our industrial office is a 12-foot wall height, and we need to bring it to our average wall height we calculated of 17 foot. So we're going to go to the next schedule, and you're going to notice under floor level, it's going to say wall height. Then we're going to have our finish type of unfinished, semi-finished, finished open, and finished divided. And then we have a use type of plus or minus, and that is going to be because we're going to add or subtract per 1 foot. So we need to go to finish divided, FD, because that's what our industrial office is. We're going to go to our wall type 2, and we're going to go over to our par of 3. So we're going to have a wall height adjustment of $2.51. Now that's for 1 foot, so we need to multiply that by 5 to get our 5-foot wall height adjustment. Then we're going to add that to the base rate, and we're going to get a new total base rate for our industrial office of $122.92. Next, we need to determine our light warehouse. So we're going to go back up. Under our first floor, you'll find light warehouse under your unfinished. So under unfinished, go to light warehouse. Again, we're going to go to wall type 2 because it's brick, and we're going to go over to our par 3, and we're going to find $83.65. Now for our light warehouse, it's an 18-foot wall height, and we need to bring it to our average wall height of 17 foot, so we need to make a negative 1 foot adjustment. So because this is unfinished, we're going to go back to the schedule for our wall height adjustment. We're going to be in the UF finish type. We need to go to a wall type 2, over to our par of 3, and you're going to find $1.83. We're going to take our base rate of $83.65. We're going to subtract out the $1.83 since we only had a 1 foot adjustment, and we're going to get a new base rate for our light warehouse of $81.82. For problem number 5, our improvement has 3,000 square feet. Of that, 1,800 square feet is fire resistant. The remainder of the building is constructed of fireproof steel with a PAR of 8, and our exterior walls are a type 1. The building's used as a bank, and it wants to know what is the amount of adjustment per square foot necessary to account for the fireproof steel framing. So problem number 5 is asking us how much of an adjustment we're going to make for the portion of the bank that is fireproof steel. So we're going to be in Schedule 8.1, we're going to be in our GCM base prices. Under our first floor, we're going to go down to Finish Divided, and we're going to go to our bank. If we go all the way over under a wall type 1 to the very last column, that's going to be our fireproof steel adjustment column. You're going to notice that there is a total of $8.87. So if the entire bank was made of fireproof steel, we would make an adjustment of $8.87. However, since only a portion of the bank is made of fireproof steel and the rest of it is going to be fire resistant, we need to determine how much of that we need to make an adjustment for. So we're going to take the square foot that has the fireproof steel of 1,200. We're going to divide that by our total square foot of 3,000, and that's going to tell us that 40% of the bank has the fireproof steel. So now we're going to take that $8.87 from our GCM base price schedule. We're going to take that times our 40% or 0.40, and that's going to give us our adjustment of $3.55. As we work through this problem, we're going to start with finding the value of our parking lot. If you have your property record card out to use as a guide, I would suggest using the sketch area to write down any information that's important. Again, like we have always in both level 1 and level 2, down at the bottom under summary of improvements, we're going to start on our left and we're going to work our way to the right. So if you fill in the basic information under use, we have paving, For story height, we're going to put our 2-inch over 8-inch base. Construction type, we're going to put asphalt. It was a grade C-1. It was built in 1993, and it told us it was in average condition. So to determine our base rate, the first thing we're going to do is go to Appendix G, Schedule G, and we're going to be in our yard items. We're going to be under paving and asphalt. It told us that it was 20,000 square feet, so we need to look at 20,000 to 50,000. If it happened to be 19,999 square feet, we would look at the line that says under 20,000. However, for this problem, because it is 20,000, we're going to look at 20,000 to 50,000. We're going to find a base rate of $2.62. However, if you remember, the problem said we have a 2-inch over an 8-inch base. So now we need to go down to add or deduct per 3-inch base. We're going to take our $2.62 and we're going to add 0.41 from our add per 3-inch base. And that's going to give us a new rate of $3.03. Now that we have that, we need to factor in our quality grade factor percent. So the problem told us it was a C-1 grade. If you want to know where your quality grade factor percents are, if you go to Appendix E and go to page 8, you're going to find all of your quality grade factor percents. So our C-1 you're going to see is 95% or 0.95. We're going to take our $3.03 times 0.95 and we're going to get a base rate of $2.88. So this is going to be the base rate that we would fill in under our summary of improvement section. So as we work our way to the right, you're going to notice the next thing is our location multiplier. So it told us this was in Greene County. We need to go to our updated location cost multipliers, and you should have found 92% or 0.92 for Greene County. So we're going to take our $2.88 times 0.92. That's going to give us an adjusted rate of $2.65. As we continue to work our way across our summary of improvement section, we're working our way to the right. So we found our adjusted rate of $2.65, and we're going to take that times our square foot of 20,000. That's going to give us our replacement cost new of $53,000. The next item that you see as we work our way to the right is our depreciation. To determine our depreciation, we need to go to Appendix F. We're going to look at page 28 because this is where we need to find what our depreciation is going to be. You're going to notice there's a couple different things we have to determine first before we can find our depreciation. We need to convert our actual age to our effective age, and then we also need to know what our economic life expectancy is. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at page 21 in Appendix F, and we're going to go to our actual age of 33, and we're going to go over to our condition of average, and we're going to see our effective age is going to be 32. So our actual age is 33, but our effective age that we're going to be using is 32. Next, we're going to go ahead and look at page 27. Because this is a yard improvement, we're going to be under our typical structure life, yard structures. And on page 27, we're going to find paving, and we're going to find asphalt, and we're going to see that our life expectancy for all of it is going to be 10. So when we go back to page 28, we determined our effective age is going to be 32, so we're going to go down to 32. And our life expectancy is 10, so we're going to go over to 10, and we're going to find 80% depreciation. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our replacement cost. We're going to take that times 0.80 or 80%, and we're going to get $42,400 depreciated dollars. So we need to take that out of our replacement cost. So we're going to take $53,000 minus $42,400, and that's going to give us a total remainder value of $10,600. Another way that you can look at it is you can take our $53,000 times 0.20 or the remaining percent. Because if we have 80% depreciation and we take that minus our 100% total, that's going to give us 20% remaining. So if we take 53,000 times 0.20, that is also going to give us 10,600 as our remainder value. Now we're going to take our remainder value to the nearest hundred, and we're going to get a total true text value of 10,600 for our asphalt paving. Next, let's go ahead and work on our guardrail. Again, if we fill in the information under our summary of improvements, the use is a guardrail, it's metal construction, it's a grade C, built in 1993, and it's in average condition. So we're going to go to Appendix G, Schedule G, again in our yard items. We're going to go down to guardrails. This is kind of hard to see, it's right below crushed stone. We're going to get our per linear foot rate. So we're going to look at metal, and you're going to see $69.35. Now the problem told us it was a C grade, so that's going to be 100%. So the base rate that we're going to fill in is going to be $69.35. As we work our way to the right, we're going to take that times our location multiplier of 0.92. That's going to give us an adjusted rate of $63.80. Next, we're going to take this adjusted rate times our square foot, or in this case, our linear feet. So we're going to take that times 200, and that's going to give us a replacement cost of $12,760. Now that we have a replacement cost, we need to take out our depreciation. So we're going to go back to Appendix F to determine what our depreciation is going to be. Remember, we need to first convert our actual age to our effective age. So we're going to look at page 21. Our actual age is 33, and our condition is average. So we're going to find the effective age of 32. This is similar to what our paving was. Next, we need to determine our total economic life. So we're going to look at page 26. Because this is a yard structure, we're going to go down to our guardrails, and then you're going to go over and notice that it says for all of them, for our guardrails is going to be 10. So then when we go back to page 28, we're going to go down to our effective age of 32, and we're going to go over to 10, and we're going to find that our guardrail has 80% depreciation. So we're going to take out our depreciation, whether you calculate your depreciated dollars by taking 12,760 times 0.80 and subtracting that out of our replacement cost, or you use the remaining percent. We're going to get a total remainder value of 2,550, and then round that to the nearest hundred, we're going to get a true tax value of 2,600. Next, if we add our paving and our guardrail together, we're going to get a total improvement value of 13,200. Now let's go over what the property record card may look like once it's complete. If you remember earlier, I mentioned that we're going to put down the important information in our sketch grid. So at the top of the sketch grid, we have that it's in Greene County and our location cost multiplier is 92%. It's also a good idea to go ahead and fill in the information the problem gave you in the summary of improvement section. We're going to do one item at a time before we move on to the next. So we're going to start with our use type of paving. Our story height, we're going to put our 2-inch over our 8-inch base. The construction type is asphalt. It's a C-1 grade, built in 1993 in average condition. So we're going to go back up to our sketch grid. We have that our paving was 20,000 square feet. We're going to go to Appendix G, Schedule G, under our yard improvements. And we're going to find under our 20,000 to 50,000 a base price of $2.62. Now, because that was for our 2-inch over our 5-inch base, we need to add 41 cents for the extra 3 inches of base. That's going to give us a new base price of $3.03. Next, we need to account for our quality grade factor percent. So we need to take our base price of $3.03 times 0.95 or 95%, because the problem told us it was a C-1 grade. That's going to give us a base rate of $2.88. We're going to transfer that $2.88 down to our base rate column in our summary of improvement section. As we work our way to the right, the next item we come across is our location multiplier. So $2.88 times 0.92 is going to give us an adjusted rate of $2.65. Now we're going to take that times our square foot of 20,000, and that's going to equal our replacement cost of $53,000. Next, we need to determine how much depreciation we have. If you remember, for depreciation, we're going to be in Appendix F. The first thing that we needed to do was take our actual age and convert it to an effective age. When we did that, we found that our effective age was 32. Then we needed to go to page 26, and we needed to find our life expectancy. So because this is a yard structure, you went down to paving, and you found that our life expectancy was going to be 10. So next we went to page 28, and we determined that an effective age of 32 and a life expectancy of 10 gave us a total depreciation of 80%. Now, whichever way works best for you to calculate or take out your depreciation is okay. I would just recommend you find one and stick with it. So we're either going to take our replacement cost times 80%, and that's going to give us our depreciated dollars, and then we're going to subtract those depreciated dollars out of our replacement cost. Or we're going to take our replacement costs times our remaining percent, which is 20, and that's also going to give us the remainder value of 10,600. Our true text value is rounded to the nearest hundred, so that's also going to be 10,600. Next, we're going to move on to our guardrail. So our use is guardrail. Our construction type is metal. It's a C grade, built in 1993 in average condition. So again, we're back in Appendix G, Schedule G. We go down to our guardrails and metal, and we found a base price of $69.35. Now, because this is a C grade, our quality grade factor percent is going to be 100%. So our base rate is also going to be $69.35. We're going to take that times our location multiplier of 0.92. That's going to give us an adjusted rate of $63.80. We're going to take that times our size or area, which in this case is going to be our linear feet. So we're going to take that times 200. That's going to give us a replacement cost of $12,760. Again, you're going to find depreciation the same way that we did with our paving, and we determined that our depreciation for our guardrail is also going to be 80%. So we're going to take out our depreciation, and that will give us a remainder value of $2,550. For our true text value, we need to round that to the nearest hundred, and that's going to give us 2,600. When we add the two of those together, that's going to give us a total of 13,200. That's going to be our total of our improvements that will be carried to the front of the property record card.
Okay, class problem number 7. What I want you to do here is get your full property record card out and actually go through, do your cost ladder, figure out your replacement cost new for this fast food restaurant. You also have paving here to take into account. Put the information in the summary of improvements, figure out replacement costs, depreciation, the whole shebang, and get your total true tax improvement value for this property. So we'll go over the narrative here. It's a fast food restaurant built on a slab in Carroll County in 2005. It contains 1,902 square feet and has a perimeter of 202 linear feet. It also has a commercial heating air conditioning package that heats and cools the entire 1,902 square feet. It is the quality of C grade and is in an average condition. The exterior walls are brick. There is an 18,000 square foot asphalt paving on 2 inches over 8 inches base. It was put down at the same time as the construction date of the building. It is a quality grade of C+1 and is in average condition. What is the total improvement value for this property? So go ahead, get your replacement cost new for your fast food restaurant, figure out the depreciation, get the true tax value, do the same thing for the paving, and come back with your total true tax improvement value.
Now let's go ahead and work through the property record card for class problem number 7. So we're going to go over to our pricing ladder. The pricing key is going to be fast food. Our square foot is 1,902. Next, we need to determine what our base rate is. We are going to go into Appendix G. We're going to go to page 42. This is going to be our table for our fast food restaurants. When we go down to our closest square foot, we should find a rate of $211.56. There are no other adjustments we need to make, so our base price is also $211.56 along with our subtotal. As we work our way down our pricing ladder, there are no other adjustments that we need to make, so our square foot price is $211.56. We're going to take that times our square foot of 1,902, and that's going to give us a subtotal of 402,390. There's no plumbing, special features, or exterior feature adjustments we need to make, so our total base is also 402,390. We're going to take that times our location multiplier of 92%. Our quality grade factor percent is 100 because it was a C grade, so that's going to give us a replacement cost of $370,200. We're going to carry that replacement cost down to the replacement cost column in the summary of improvement section. So our use is fast food. The story height is 1. Construction type is brick. Our grade is a C. The year it was constructed is 2005, and it's an average condition. So now that we have a replacement cost, we need to determine our normal depreciation. We're going to go to Appendix F, and remember we need to convert our actual age to our effective age. So Appendix F, page 21. We are going to go down to our actual age of 21. We are going to go over to our condition of average, and we should find an effective age of 20. Now we're going to go to page 33 because this is a fast food restaurant. Fast food restaurants are going to have their own depreciation table because they are special use commercial property. So on page 33, we're going to go down to our effective age of 20 and go over, and you're going to see a normal depreciation of 65%. Now we need to take the depreciation out of our replacement cost. So either take your replacement cost times your depreciation percent to get your depreciated dollars, and then subtract that out of your replacement cost. Or take your 100% replacement cost new, subtract out the 65% depreciation, and that's going to give you a remaining percent. And then you're going to take that times your replacement cost to get your remainder value. Either way, you're going to get a remainder value of $129,570. There isn't any obsolescence depreciation, so to get our true tax value, we're going to round that to the nearest 100, and we're going to get $129,600. Next, we need to do our paving. So our use is paving. The story height, we're going to put our 2-inch over our 8-inch base. Our construction type is asphalt. It's a C+1 grade, built in 2005 in average condition. So for this one, our square foot was 18,000. So when we're in Appendix G, we're going to go to our paving, and we need to look at our under 20,000 square foot. This is going to give us a base rate of $2.87, but that's only for our 2 over 5-inch base. So we need to remember to add for the 3-inch base of 41 cents. That's going to give us a new base rate of $3.28. Now we're going to take that times 105% because our quality grade factor is a C plus 1. Remember, you always take what you find in the book times your quality grade factor percent to get the base rate on the property record card. So that's going to give us $3.44. We're going to carry that down to the base rate in the summary of improvement section. Next, we're going to take that times our location multiplier of 92%. That's going to give us an adjusted rate of $3.17. Then we're going to take that times our square foot of 18,000 to get a replacement cost of $57,060. And next we need to determine our depreciation. So like everything else, first we need to convert our actual age to our effective age, which we've already done. We have an effective age of 20. And then we need to go to page 27 to find out our life expectancy because this is paving. So when we go to paving and asphalt on page 27 of Appendix F, we're back in Appendix F for depreciation. We're going to find that our paving has a 10-year life expectancy. Then we're going to go to page 28. We're going to go down to our effective age and over to our life expectancy of 10. And we're going to find 80% depreciation. Again, we're going to take our depreciation out. If you either take your replacement costs times your depreciation to get your depreciated dollars and then subtract that out to get your remainder value, or find your remaining percent and take that times your replacement cost, you're going to get a remainder value of 11,410. For our true tax value, we're going to round that to the nearest hundred and we're going to get 11,400. Now we're going to add the two of those together and we're going to get a total true tax improvement value of 141,000. This is a good problem to know. I would probably flag page 42 of Appendix G so that you know where your fast food cost tables are. I would also make sure that you flag the appropriate tables in your Appendix F for depreciation. Now let's go ahead and walk through the property record card to calculate our answer for practice problem number 1. Remember, you can use your sketch grid to make any notes or write down any information, make calculations that you find helpful and necessary. So at the top of the sketch grid, I'm going to go ahead and put down that I'm in LaGrange County and I have a 95% location cost multiplier. I'm going to move over to my pricing ladder, and under my pricing key, the problem told me that it was a GCM, general retail. It told me that my square foot is 15,400 and my effective perimeter is 450. The next thing that I need to do is calculate my PAR. I'm going to take my effective perimeter of 450 and divide that by my square foot of 15,400, multiply that by 100, and that is going to give me a PAR of 3. Now as I work my way down, under my first floor, I need to find my base rate. Now because this is only a one story, I'm only going to use the column 1 or A, but if I happen to have a second story, I would put that in the next column, which would be my 2 or B. So for each story, I'm going to put that in a separate column. So when I go to my GCM base price schedule, I'm going to go down under my first floor, under finished open, I'm going to find my general retail. My problem told me that it was a wall type 1, and I'm going to go over to a PAR of 3, and I'm going to find a base rate of $105.08. This is going to be on page 12 of Appendix G. Next, as I work my way down, I didn't have a frame adjustment or a wall height adjustment, so my base price is also going to be $105.08. There's no base price adjustment, so that's 100%, and my subtotal is also going to be $105.08. As I continue to work my way down, the next item that I come to is going to be for my sprinkler. The problem told me that the whole building was sprinkled. So I'm going to go to Schedule C of Appendix C. This is going to be page 17. And I need to first find my sprinkler group. So under my GC base price components and adjustments, under my first floor, I need to go to my finished open, and I'm going to find my general retail. And when I go all the way over to the right-hand side, there's a column that says SPK. This is going to be for my sprinkler grouping. So I'm going to find that my sprinkler grouping for this building is going to be a group 4. Next, I'm going to go to the bottom of this schedule, and this is going to be where my values are for the sprinklers. So I'm going to go down to my group 4, I apologize, and then I need to go over to my closest square foot. So we're going to go over to 15,000 square feet, and that's going to give me an adjustment of $3.53 for my sprinklers. Now I'm going to add that to my subtotal, and I'm going to get a square foot price of $108.61. Next, I'm going to take that times my square foot of 15,400. I'm going to get a new subtotal of 1,672,590. Now I need to make my plumbing adjustment. I'm going to be in Appendix G. I'm going to go to Schedule D on page 26, and I'm going to go under Plumbing. You're going to notice that there's an adjustment for a residential and a commercial. We need to make sure that we're looking at our commercial plumbing adjustment. You're going to find a value of 2,180, and I need to make that adjustment for 5 fixtures. So I'm going to take that 2,180 times 5, and I'm going to get a total plumbing adjustment of 10,900. The next item that I come to is going to be for my special features. If you remember, the problem told us we had a canopy. So I'm going to be in Appendix G, Schedule E. I'm going to go under Canopies, Commercial Type, and it told us that it was an average with finished soffit. So we should find a base rate of $36.79. I'm going to take that times my 900 square feet, and I'm going to get an adjustment of $33,110. I'm going to add those two to my subtotal, and I'm going to get a total base of $1,716,600. Next, I'm going to take that times my location multiplier of 95%, and then I'm going to take that times my quality grade factor percent of 105. Remember, the problem told us it was a C+1 grade, so that's going to be 105%. This is going to give me a replacement cost of $1,712,310. I'm going to carry that value down to the summary of improvements in my replacement cost column, and you'll notice the next thing that I need to determine is my depreciation. So if I would have filled in the information already for my summary of improvements, my use is a GCM general retail, my story height is 1, my construction type is frame, it was a C+1 grade, built in 2013 in average condition. So since I've calculated my replacement cost, I'm going to determine my depreciation. Remember, one of the first things we need to do for depreciation is convert our actual age to our effective age. So we're going to go to Appendix F, we need to go to page 21, and we're going to go to our actual age of 13. We're going to go over to our condition of average, and we're going to find an effective age of 14. The next thing that we need to do is determine our life expectancy. So again, we're going to be in Appendix F. We're going to go to page 23. We're going to go down to our general retail. We're going to go to our C grade, our C quality grade column, and we're going to find our life expectancy of 45. Next, we need to go to page 28. We're going to go down to our effective age of 14. We're going to go over to our life expectancy of 45, and we are going to find our depreciation of 19%. Now we need to take the depreciation out of the replacement cost. Again, there are two different ways we can look at it. You pick whatever one works best for you. We can take the replacement cost times the depreciation percent and get our depreciated dollars. And then we take our replacement cost and subtract out the depreciated dollars. That will give us our remainder value. Or we start with our 100% replacement cost new. We subtract our 19% depreciation, and that's going to give us our remaining percent. And then we're going to take our remaining percent times our replacement cost to get our remainder value. Either way, our remainder value is going to equal 1,386,970. There's no obsolescence depreciation, so we're going to round that to the nearest hundred, and our true tax value is going to be 1,387,000. Now our problem also told us that we had paving that we need to account for. So in our summary of improvement section, our use is going to be paving. For the story height, we're going to go ahead and write that it was a 2-inch over a 5-inch base. Our construction type is asphalt. It's a C grade, built in 2013, and it's in average condition. So when we're in Appendix G, under our yard items, we're going to go to paving. The first thing that we need to do is look at our square foot. Because it told us that it was 28,000 square foot, we're going to go to our 20,000 to 50,000 square foot line. You should find a base price of $2.62. Now remember that normally we're going to take that value times our quality grade factor percent. However, for this problem, it told us it was a C grade, so that's going to be 100%. Our base rate is also going to equal our $2.62. Now we're going to take that times our location multiplier of 95%. That's going to give us an adjusted rate of $2.49. We're going to take that times our square foot of 28,000, and we're going to get a replacement cost of 69,720. And then now we need to find our depreciation for our paving. So again, we're going to go back to page 21 in Appendix F, and we're going to convert our actual age to effective age. So when we go down to 13 and we go over to average, we find our our effective age of 14. And now for our life expectancy, this is a yard structure. So when we're in Appendix F, we are going to go to page 27, and under paving asphalt, we're going to see all of them are 10. So our life expectancy for paving is always going to be 10. Then we're going to go back to page 28. We're going to go down to our effective age of 14, over to our life expectancy of 10, and you're going to find 80% depreciation. Now we're going to go ahead and take our depreciation out of our replacement cost. That's going to give us a remainder value of 13,940. Again, since there wasn't any obsolescence depreciation, we're going to round that to the nearest hundred, and we're going to get a true tax value of $13,900. Next, we're going to go ahead and add the two of those together to get a total true tax improvement value of $1,400,900. This is a very good problem to be comfortable with. I would make as many notes as you need, know where to find the information and how to make the calculations as you work your way down your pricing ladder and your way across your summary of improvement section. I would have this answer and problem handy along with the other problems and answers we worked as you work through your practice exam, because again, these are all very good problems to be comfortable with doing.